I do this every time. My apologies. In any event, thank you so much for coming out this evening. It has been such a wonderful journey that I've had with Karina and Jonathan and Let's Talk Vero. We are a real estate firm, which I hope you're all aware of that. We are worldwide, known worldwide, but very locally connected, which is the reason why we wanted to partner with this opportunity so that we're assured that good information is available to everybody in our community. And so we're so pleased to be able to host these events with State of the City, with Mayor John Cotugno, and it will be ongoing and more informative as we get bigger. So once again, thank you so much. Enjoy the evening. Ask lots of questions.
Yep, we're just gonna invite your wife and let your wife come in.
My wife, thanks. Good evening. Thanks to everyone for showing up this evening. I'm just going to run through a really very quick update of what's happened in the city since the last time we did this. Right now, for anyone regarding the Three Corners project, that is moving along. I think everybody's well aware. We have a project manager, Peter Polk, on board. He joined around the first part of August. This is moving quickly. Evaluation regarding this traffic study, it's already been reported out for the first draft. There'll be a second draft, and that'll get reported out sometime in September for the traffic study for Three Corners. The environmental evaluation is almost complete, and I'll be going on, be ongoing and get it done. Planning and zoning, everything's on schedule to get to planning and zoning sometime in November, because we have to change the use. The planning is the zoning for that. It's currently industrial, and of course the modification of the comprehensive plan. Wastewater treatment plant, and we're going to have an update. This ties in also with the marina update. I know everybody's interested in what's happening with the marina now that we actually won the lawsuit. Consider it a win. I don't necessarily consider it a win, but we were found in our favor. At the marina workshop, which we're going to be holding on 30th of August, we will also have a update on the wastewater treatment plant project, along with the pipeline going over. So that gives you two quick updates there. Regarding what we're doing downtown, the master plan, the Gibbs study, which will be the retail study, and retail is broadly defined. That includes entertainment, restaurants, et cetera, et cetera. That's going to be reported out to City Council at a special workshop on 9/14. Now, what's interesting in that is that Gibbs is going to report out what he believes is the ability of the downtown area to support certain types of retail, but he's also going to make some recommendations what he believes needs to happen downtown for that to happen. So that's going to be an interesting workshop for, again, I encourage everybody to attend who can attend, because I think this is going to be a very interesting one, because you're going to get a lot of information. Also, the Kimberly Horn, second phase of the Kimberly Horn study, or the zombie project, which is the Twin Piers. Just so everybody knows, here is your dates. Hot off the press, the dates for the community meetings. The community meetings themselves will be held at the community center. The first one is going to be October the 5th. The second one will be October the 16th. Excuse me, November the 16th. In between that, there'll be an MPO meeting on October the 25th, which will be held somewhere in the county complex. And then it will go to City Council, projected for the 12/12 City Council meeting. So the new City Council will be sitting on this project, and will make the decision of the FDOT. Now, remember, no matter what the recommendation by City Council is, FDOT can accept it or reject it. It's up to FDOT. So the City Council will make its recommendation based on a vote and inputs on 12/12. So let's go. Workplace housing, we have a slight delay in that RFI, probably won't go out to the, it was originally scheduled to go last week. It's probably not gonna go out to the end of the month. Just too many things happening in the planning department. And we need to prioritize, we're prioritizing, excuse me, we're prioritizing, of course, Three Corners and getting that moving along, wastewater treatment plant marina project. So that's gonna get pushed out somewhat. Jimmy Gray's, there's no update to the community field, other than if anybody is interested in Fighting Indians football. They have a brand new football field. I had a pleasure of visiting in the rain last Thursday night. It's a great field. So I guess we're expecting continued wonderful things from the Vero Beach Fighting Indians. And Pocahontas Park, we've updated a number of times. Everybody knows what's going on. It's moving along swimmingly. I had the pleasure of hosting a mayor from Pawtucket, Rhode Island on Friday who visited the source and viewed Pocahontas Park. And was very impressed and so on and so forth on that. So regarding one other piece of information, I think before I get to questions, I think was interesting is today was a budget workshop. And we discussed what's going to be happening with our budget. So the latest for anybody who's a Vero Beach resident here. You've got your trim notices. The trim notice said 2.7680 is your millage rate. It will stay. Right now, the not to exceed millage rate is looks like, barring some unforeseen circumstance, will be the millage rate. Now, with that, we maintain our position as probably the fourth lowest, not probably, the fourth lowest millage rate in all of Florida for a city our size. And we should take pride in that because we really do run a very cost-efficient government here. And that's a 2.7% increase from the previous year. But just to give you an example, in 2022, the official inflation rate was 8%. Year before, it was almost 5%. And this year we're running at 3.2%. So in the last two times this city council met regarding budgets, we have probably a total increase of about 4.5% or so versus what's happened with inflation. And again, I think it's attesting to a city council who's worked very closely with the staff, and a staff which is going all out and trying to find where they can find dollars and cents to keep the budget low. And this is, by the way, we gave our overall city employees a 5% increase both years. So I think we're doing well there, and all city residents should be proud of the staff that we have and the work that they're doing. And just so one of the key things is that we're going to get 4 new police officers with that. One of them will be handled at the airport. We're going to get a downtown beat, one of the old-fashioned beat cops. We're going to get one for downtown. We're going to get a waterways police officer, which is kind of split the time from on Ocean Drive and on the water marina to make sure the derelict vessel issue we have is addressed, and some of the, let's say, non-conforming uses of the water are addressed. And we're also going to get a new traffic patrol person. So that's, from a security standpoint, that is tantamount to why we kind of exist as a city council, to ensure public safety. We're also going to get as things get more and more complicated with reporting out financially, we're going to get a new financial analyst. As you all know, cybersecurity is key. We got a new, what I like to call the one water plant going up, and that one water plant is they're infamously famous targets for cyber. We're going to put in a budget a new network security technician, and then Jason, as you know, I always find this amazing. Jason's team has got 4 people in the planning department, and all these things you hear about, Three Corners, the marina project, even some what's happening with wastewater treatment, all the plant and that relocation, was happening with downtown, and all the things that are part of downtown somehow flow through Jason's department. And by the way, he has to issue fence permits, shed permits, site plans and so on and so forth. He does this with 4 people. So we're gonna add, excuse me, we're gonna associate planner to his team. So I think that's I think he finally earned to get another person to help things out as things get more complicated. So with that, I'm going to take some questions that came over the internet. And I'll try to read them out, and here we go. The very large population growth in the county requires commensurate growth and logistics to support this growth. Is the city council and county commission satisfied the appropriate planning is in place for increased or enhanced logistics to accommodate this growth? Wow, okay. That could be an entire meeting unto itself. But from the city standpoint, city unto itself is geographically confined. You know, we are as a city are not growing that much. If anything, we're at 17,000. We're probably going to be here at 17,000 for quite some time. However, no offense to anybody else from any part of the county, county commissioners here. We are the hub of the county. And whatever happens in the county, I like to believe flows through Vero Beach, whether it's going to the beach, using the county administrative offices, shopping, entertainment downtown, restaurants, theater, museum. It all resides in the city. People have to come here. That's why one of the reasons why we're adding, police officers is that we have to try to accommodate that, even though our city is kind of stagnant from a population growth standpoint. So we're planning that. Of course, we're going to have the impact of the Twin Pairs. That's part of that discussion. We have ongoing input into the MPO, which tries to address that more on a county and citywide basis. We cooperate. We have 2 members on the MPO, and we constantly monitor that situation and try to work with the county and trying to develop ideas and plans that will help us all. That one.
Can I ask a question about that?
At the end.
Okay.
Thank you. Only because there's a lot of people who made some inputs here, and I'd like to get to address those. Twin Pairs, okay, we chalked that one off. We've got the sessions on the Twin Pairs discussion. Question: will Victor Dova be conducting another walking tour? He has promised to come back. Now, when that will take place has to be discussed, but he has promised to come back to Vero and provide more input. We discussed the thing about Bob Gibbs. That workshop is open to anybody and everybody. So if you're interested in what Bob Gibbs is going to report out, and I would encourage you to show up to that meeting.
When's the date for that again?
I believe it's the 14th, if I remember my notes correctly. Just to be sure. 14th of September. Okay. And all the information will be on the city's website if you want to, you want to just double check in case there are any last minute changes, but that's how it is as of now. Will we see more information about the downtown master plan? Yes, you will. Hopefully what the downtown master plan is in the budget I just discussed. So that it will happen. So the process will be that we'll go out to city council with Jason's guidance, of course. We will go ahead and select a firm to develop that master plan. And the model that we found so successful is the model we use for Three Corners. Okay, that was a very successful model with the charrettes that happened, the input that was received by the community. And I think everybody who's kind of followed what I've said more than once is I believe in community input, the input by the citizens, and therefore, this will happen. Community input will be very important. And again, when these happen, we will make sure everyone is well noticed. And we again encourage everybody and anybody to show up to these meetings. I don't know where this question number 4 came from, but can you shed any light on the so-called special relationship Indian River County has with Publix? Okay, and that prevents Trader Joe's from entering the market. Trader Joe's, it is rumored, has directed people to speak to elected officials and county commissioners to ask that very question. Well, that is known as the old, shuffle off the ball, buffalo answer. When somebody asks the people at Trader Joe's, why don't we have a Trader Joe's? Well, talk to your officials, it's the county, it's the city. There is, to my knowledge, unless there's a double secret probation agreement somewhere. Yeah, and now Aldi's has purchased Winn-Dixie, so, and Aldi's is owned by the same family trust that owns Trader Joe's. Yeah, well, it's a German family trust that's split into two. One half of the family trust owns Aldi's, the other part of the family trust owns Trader Joe's. I'm not quite sure which part of that family trust also owns Panera and Pete's Coffee, but Pete's Coffee, P-E-T. Pete's Coffee. Number 5 is the art club. I would like to know if it would be welcomed, I guess, at Three Corners. Of course, you're welcome at Three Corners. And it's still early in the RFP process. We have to see what's going to come back from the developers, but I think any developer of their ilk is going to be interested in talking to some, like if an organization like the Art Club. And when that gets to that point, I think introductions could be made without making any overly big commitment here. How is the current infrastructure design support? We already did this about developments that were being built in Vero. Okay, what is being considered for Three Quarters and when is the decision going to be made? Well, you have to go online and see the current DPZ renditions, plus you can view the RFP, and that will tell you what we have in mind. Now, what this finally ends up at, we're really 6 months at least away from how this finally develops into a finalized plan. And I would say, stay tuned, show up to the meetings, whether they're a city council meeting or a workshop, make your inputs and make your critiques or comments known. We've been extremely open on this subject, and we will continue to do so. So the expansion of marina. We will address that at the marina workshop. Again, you'll get the finite detail of what's happening with the marina, what's the plan for it, based on the fact that now we can move forward. We couldn't move forward until this lawsuit was settled. The lawsuit is settled. We can now move forward. So I think, again, let's wait for the workshop as we work that out, and you'll get the feedback again. If the marina is your interest, because you're interested in the storage shed or you're interested in having to the self docks, I would again encourage anybody to either attend that in person or watch it online or through, I guess, there's a Comcast channel. Why isn't the Twin Piers study conducted during our busy time of year, November to April? The answer to that is, in this day and age, there's an algorithm for everything. So FDOT's official, sorry. Sorry. Okay, got it. Okay. FDOT's keyword. All right. FDOT's official answer to this is that if they had to do every traffic study during quote unquote season in Florida, they would never get any traffic studies done. Because when you look at the size of Florida and you look at, especially here on the coast, it's a lot of coastline in Florida, and most of it's seasonal. If you had to allocate only traffic studies at that point in time during the year, you would, these traffic studies would back up. They have developed an algorithm based on MPO projections of what population growth, and with that algorithm, the inputs are made into the system. Kimberly Horn was the person who generated the traffic. And essentially that's their answer. And that's what we go by. And is there any traction on removing the abandoned half sunk boats that are in the lagoon visible from the two bridges? A qualified yes. As they like to say in government, these things take time. We've been working with the county to get this done. I recently sent a letter regarding this. Again, with the addition of an additional marine patrol person, I believe this issue, which is, let's be honest, unsightly, will be addressed in a more expeditious manner in the future. Any other questions?
So it appears that we do have some new questions that have come in since we last wrote down our last batch of questions, so. We have, what is the city doing to encourage affordable housing?
Well, that's a good question. That was what I mentioned, the RFI on 8/15. So on 8/15, we were going to get an RFI out on what I'd like to call workforce housing. We have an issue with workforce housing for our teachers, EMS, emergency responders, police force security, lower level workers at hospitals, all that, as you can imagine, as our, housing prices increase and real estate values increase, which we all like, rents are going up. I would challenge someone to find a 1-bedroom here in Vero that you would want to live in for less than $1,500 to $1,800 a month. And if you're starting, our starting patrol persons are a little over $40,000 a year. That's a big chunk of your salary. So we're addressing it with the 13 acres we have at the end of 14th Avenue, which used to be the old cemetery for our, the old nursery for our cemetery. So, and we believe that's can be doable. I believe it's SB 103 puts an interesting spin on this as they tried, as the state has, I believe it's called the HEROES Act, where they've put, I don't want to call it restrictions, but they've made it more difficult for cities and municipalities not to do this. Okay, they've encouraged outside developers to develop affordable housing. We'll use that, and that encompasses all kinds of affordable housing by putting surplus, by requiring municipalities to put surplus land into databases, by giving them advantageous approaches from a zoning standpoint, from a planning and zoning standpoint, and some input from our city attorney is it won't even make a difference if it's charter protected. Height requirements could not be enforced. So the city's goal was to try to get out in front of this, try to find out if there's any local interest on the Treasure Coast, a Treasure Coast developer, somebody that would have some pride in what they put up in this area. And that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the 13 acres.
Okay,
Can you please address the status of the repair of the? Yes.
Read the question again.
Sure. Can you address the status of the repair of the Riverview Park boat launch? Well, it's ongoing. No, it's not meant to be a joke and make light of the question. I'm not a boater, but I'm sure if you're a boater, that boat launch ramp is important to you. There's a number of permitting issues you have to go through because of the loss of that dock. We're in contact with Florida Environmental. Remember, this is a national estuary. We have to, the feds are involved. And then you have the issue of what happened last year on the West Coast with the hurricane, and the Marines contractors and engineering firms are busy. And it's extremely busy. The issue happened is when we try to repair the con boardwalk and also repair the beach access across in Village Beach Market. you send it out to bid, you get one bidder, and it's one of those like, here's the bid, take it or leave it. And if you don't want it, that's fine. I'm so busy now. It is no negotiation. So we're in that process. It's ongoing. We haven't forgotten about it. It's just that because of what's happened, circumstances, supply chain issues, we just have to, we're approaching it as best we can.
All right, thank you. And I would now like to take this moment to open up to the floor for further questions from our in-person attendees. If anybody would like to go first.
Could you repeat the dates of those community meetings with that?
Sure. Let me find a piece of paper, so make sure I'm.
What time? And are there after?
The times haven't been announced yet, to be quite frank, but I'll give you the dates. The first one is October the 5th. And that will be at the community center. The next one is actually October the 25th, and that's going to be, excuse me, in front of the MPO. So. Right.
And NPO stands for?
Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is the countywide organization that we, right. That one is on the 20, excuse me,
25th?
on 11/6, no, I gotta get this right, hold on. Yes, on the 25th, on 11/16, it's going to be the second community meeting. And that community, again, will be at the community center. And then on 12/12, it goes in front of city council of when they'll vote on what their recommendation will be to FDOT. But it's FDOT's final say of what happens.
Okay, my turn.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to address Mayor Cotugno's comments about Vero Beach being the center of gravity revenue in Indian River County.
Mhm.
And I noticed we have two county commissioners here. And just so everybody knows, I'm Matt Hayes, I'm the executive director of Vero Beach. So I have the last 8 months, so I have like a unique perspective. And it doesn't feel to me like the county is very well aligned with the city. And since we have two commissioners here, I just want to get it on the radar screen that it doesn't feel good to me. So what are we doing to make the county and the city, more aligned in what they're doing and thinking?
Laura Moss, County Commissioner.
You-
Oh, sunshine.
You want us to stay here, Laura?
Oh, sorry. Do I use this too?
I know you can't miss screen.
Do I use
time,
this
so-
also? Okay, I didn't want to interfere. Laura Moss with County Commission. Because of sunshine, we can't discuss anything that we're going to be voting on. But I can tell you, we've already voted on having meetings with the different towns and cities. So that'll be coming up. We can address joint issues. And to comment on some of the other questions, with all these coming in and taking over Winn-Dixie, I know that's
Wait a
something
minute,
that.
I didn't hear my question answered. Could you answer my question?
Well, yes,
Yeah.
we're going to be meeting with the cities, each of the cities and each of the towns, and formulate the agenda with the city or with the town so that it'll be topics of shared interest. So yes, I think that will be a start to working closer together. And I think we should. I mean, I
But
agree
you
with you.
acknowledge that it's really not working that well right now.
In the past, it didn't. Remember, everybody remember, for those of you who don't know, I was the mayor of Vero Beach in 2016, and I served on Vero Beach City Council from 2016 to 2020 when I went to County Commission. So I can't move. That's right. Sorry.
It's housekeeping in one place.
Yes, it is. So I'm very familiar with the city of Vero Beach matters since I spent 4 years working on them. In fact, I ended my city council career the day before I was sworn into County Commission. So I had one afternoon off. Not that you need to feel sorry for me. I love both jobs. They're tremendous. But to answer your question, that was, I think, in the past. As you may know, we have a new county administrator.
Mhm.
Our chairman, Joe Ehrman, brought it forward
I think it was a month or so ago, this with the joint meetings. And I had mentioned it in Sebastian, even maybe a year ago, but thanks to our chairman, he formalized it and we voted on it. So we can speak about it, that's what we will be doing. And I think that's the start of a lot of good things. This new county administrator has a very open mind. He's very forward thinking, very amenable to ideas, to suggestions. So to answer your question, that was the past. Okay, and we're done with that. And now we're moving forward, and it's a new day, it's a new dawn, and be part of a new setting.
Just to be
Good-
clear, I will
good-
judge us
goodwill.
by the actions, not by the words.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, just to be clear, we'll judge by the actions, not by the. words.
Absolutely, and I love that. That's why I love when everything's videotaped. You know, there's nothing better than videotape. Don't you agree, John?
Stay tuned.
But just on a few other things, and then I'll hand it back to you. With I still encourage everyone to support local businesses because, you know, remember, that's what defines the community. That's what gives us personality or, you know, our charm. That's what makes us unique by definition, not the box stores. They don't make you unique. The local businesses do. So, you know, please keep that in mind and patronize our local businesses as you are able to. On the derelict vessels, it takes so long. This is what I'm told, and I just discussed it. And we've had this conversation with the county, county commission, but it takes actually up to a year for the Fish and Wildlife Commission to contact the owner of the boat. I mean, you would think, oh yeah, they can just tow it away, we're done. No, they have to contact the owner and properly dispose of it. And it actually does take a year. So it's unfortunate, but that's the case. And by the way, if you know anyone in that situation, we've set it up now so you can turn in the boat to the county for free at no charge. So you can dispose of it because it's cheaper. It costs us, and we've already voted on this. So our chairman knows this, but we spent, I think it was $6,000 a boat, and that was months ago. And then more recently, it was $10,000 a boat. So for the county to offer to take it for free actually saves money rather than spending this money, you know, to go out there. One more thing on the Vero Beach Art Club, because this is so cool and I love them. And by the way, they offer all kinds of free classes. Go on their website. They have 700 members. And they've been around for almost 100 years. And we are now doing a project with United Against Poverty, public mural in that space. So I'm sure to work with them on three corners, we'll see what the developer comes up with, but they're going great guns and they're very much involved in the community. And I'm always happy to support them. They do a great job. And thank you, Mayor.
Welcome. So. Any other questions out here?
Any other questions on the crowd?
Thank you. Couldn't see open. No.
Well, I don't know how specific you can be, but it would be really, it's an interesting thing. I don't know how specific you can be, but it would be really interesting, given your county perspective, if you were to give the three most important issues that you would put at the top of your list where cooperation with the city is not only important, but imperative. Can you do that?
I think it's everything.
I know,
I mean,
but
I think it's
Wait, excuse me.
it's a partnership.
It's a
Everything.
partnership. I mean, the issues are, I mean, you can go anything from, you know, beach replenishment to lifeguards to public safety to all those issues that I think each municipality, and really there's two major municipalities, that's Sebastian and Vero, there's a lot that we can cooperate with each other and the county that we will continue to do so. And I think once we get these meetings put together, agendas addressed, agendas agreed upon, I'm looking forward to cooperation and hopefully we'll be able to work on issues jointly.
I think it's great. Congratulations.
Okay, so do we have?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Good. So
Anybody else like to ask a question?
Questions in the chat that are interesting for Bob Jones.
Yeah, we got some, I mean,
Go ahead with the.
it said, thank you for doing this. Couldn't the city open the old power plant property now for residents to enjoy? Will the city consider a new boat ramp on this site as well? Thanks again. Okay, so number one, no, we cannot open the power plant property as it stands now. The liability issues far exceed the upside impact that would be, that would come from that. I know it's frustrating. It's a beautiful piece of property once you get on the other side of the big blue. But just the way it is. New boat ramp, there is going to be a marina there. And when youth sailing finally gets their facility put in, there'll be a small boat and kayak launching area there. So I think it's going to be something that'll be kind of goes into matches what this person has asked for. I think, again, we'll actually have to see what a developer totally responds to, but those are the things that were pinpointed on the RFP that we were looking for, and hopefully we'll see them. And the youth sailing thing it's in their plan for that property.
Okay, so, we have another question.
Sure.
What land lease payments will the developer be required to pay to the city? Will the payments be less than the fair lease value for the property, which would be then effectively subsidized by taxpayers?
That's a good question. And as anybody who has ever been in negotiations, the question is, I'm not going to reveal my negotiation position this far in advance. But put it this way, we are not giving anything away. That is a premier piece of property. That is probably the premier piece of property on the east coast of Florida, maybe in the entire both sides of Florida. And there's small chance that will ever happen with that piece of property. And I think the city council is more than aligned along with the city staff with that position.
Okay, Robert Jones asks, is there going to be an overpass at Aviation Boulevard and Highway 1?
Short answer, no. Lease, according to the city's recommendation. Again, that's an FDOT county project also. We've recommended that they just increase the width of Route 1 at that location and reconfigure the intersection.
I recall hearing a rumor that there should be a boat ramp on the mainland side of Indian River. Is there any possibility for that, given that most of the trailer boaters are not from the Barrier Island? It would be great to alleviate the trailer congestion at McWilliams Park.
You're asking the wrong person. That is the city maintains its boat ramps on the island. They are probably if not the most popular two boat ramps. They're pretty close up there within the entire county. If the county has plans to expand their boat ramp capacity somewhere within the county, within the lagoon area, I'm not aware of it. Doesn't mean they don't have plans for it, but I'm just not aware of it. And I think from our city standpoint, we're pretty well where we are and where we'll stand at this point in time.
One more question. And I think you got it? Okay, good.
Yes. Who approved the storage units on Route 60 eastbound just before US 1? Are there any protections in place to keep more commercial places like the storage unit from scooping up remaining land in the main downtown area? Is there a possibility for more mixed use spaces, retail apartments or additional parks?
Okay. The storage units on Route 60 are the current version of the twin spires on the beach. Okay. it is, and it has become a catalyst for Jason and his team of readdressing the code and readdressing how the code affects development and the areas that it affects it. We're in a process right now of revamping the code. And the code was this old. The code actually had, and they were, by the way, they fully complied with the code. Okay, and Florida being a property rights state, it's very difficult for any city to deny someone who is building a project to code on a piece of property, can't accept it, to deny him that, unless you want to go through a whole series of litigation, which you will eventually lose. But all that being said, a lesson was learned. The lesson learned is this, is that you just can't put things into a charter, establish a code, do your comprehensive plan every now and then everything, you just put it on the shelf and not make it a dynamic set of documents or rules and regulations. And that's what, Jason's process of trying to get that, in the process of getting that updated now on what our P&Z board. And I think we will, in fact, we're in a moratorium on any other storage facilities going up within the city until all the new code is passed. I think it was a lesson sorely learned, but a lesson learned, and to always remain judicious when you try to protect your brand. You can never take anything for granted, and you need to be diligent. Good question.
Okay, let's see, we got one more question here. In the event the traffic is slowed on Twin Pairs after the downtown street project is completed, has there been any research demonstrating that traffic flow may increase through other neighborhoods, i.e. 19th or 21st, to avoid the downtown slowdowns? Could be a safety issue to consider. Thank you.
Yes, it's all, excuse me, it's part of the traffic studies. It is being considered. And the most important thing is the community outreach meetings. I sound like a broken record. Unless you come out and voice your opinions and hold your city council accountable, that's the most important thing you can do. And yes, we're going to listen to the people within McCann's Park, Osceola Park, Edgewood, Old Town, how this is going to affect them. But in reality, if you listen to Victor Dover and his, I believe it may even still be on YouTube, when he did his walk around, speed doesn't necessarily equal traffic flow. Okay. Take that equation. I'm not going to say take it out of your mind, but it doesn't. Statistics prove that speed going 45 miles an hour on the Twin Pairs doesn't put more traffic going through Twin Pairs or more cars through Twin Pairs. Actually, the ideal speed is slightly under 30 miles an hour. And it's how you were taught to drive. Every time we drive fast, we try to increase the spacing between us and the car in front of us. When you decrease your speed, you decrease that space in front of you. And that's the throughput. So there may be other things that affect the traffic in Twin Pairs, or I should say the throughput between pairs, but don't just think of it as speed. Speed is not necessarily the gating factor for throughput. But again, we will take in, for instance, all the feedback that we receive from our neighborhoods.
Okay, we're gonna have to start wrapping it up. We have time for a few more questions in person.
There's a gentleman back there. Wait, I think there's a gentleman waving at us back there.
You mentioned bigger goes the city is still, I remember a couple years ago, they were trying to get is on the one quadrant, the southwest part of 3 corners. Is the city still pursuing fair goods? It seems like a lot of people would like to.
First of all, I'm not a developer. I'm just a guy who sits on the city council and I was lucky enough, is honored enough to be elected the mayor by the city council. The city council really has there's probably 1 or 2 developers sitting in here, so they probably got to test it. It's probably little or no input of whether or not you're gonna get a Trader Joe's. Okay. I mean, it has to do with, demographics, it has to do with your population, has to do with a number of other things. Would the city be, would the city be accommodating? Of course, the city would be accommodating, but it's not within the city's control to, send me out to Trader Joe's headquarters, which I believe is in Monrovia, California, and beg them to come here. Believe me, if they wanted to come here, they would be here.
Right, so we're gonna wrap up the Zoom section of this. Thank you all for joining tonight. We're gonna wrap up the Zoom and we have room for 1 or 2 more questions here. Thank you again, everyone.